OneNGlen back in action, checking in from the new homestead here. And today we are installing a ceiling fan in this extra side room. The room that has the addy trees, as you can see behind me. First thing you want to do is take an inventory of all your parts, make sure you have everything. We are going to be installing the Honeywell 62-inch fan blade ceiling fan. We had a 64-inch in our other house, and they are the bomb. So don't wuss out and get these 47-inch and 52 blades. Get the big dogs. You'll feel the air push around. First thing you want to do is find your hot wires up top. Hot meaning they have power going to them. So prior to this, Marie and I have already figured out that the yellow wire coming from the ceiling right here is my always hot, which means it has power to it and it's going off this switch over here. My whites are going to be a neutral wire, and the green that comes with my base right here is a ground wire. We're going to kind of run through this step by step, and I will show you the process along the way. The hardest part for most of you is going to be figuring out what wire goes to where. I use a very basic wire checker thingamajigger right here. Black is negative, red is hot. You put the black on a nut that's in your ceiling fan area, not the ceiling fan, but the hole up there. You put the black on just a nut, which is grounds it out. You put the right down and make sure it's touching the wire. And if the thing lights up 110 or 220, you got hot. The whites did not light up, so they are neutral. There is no power going to those things. The yellow did light up and turned off with the switch, so that is why we're using that one. There's also some brown wires up there. They are also constant hot, but they are not going to the switch, so we are not going to be using that. So that's why we got the yellow for hot, white for neutral, and the green for ground. This ceiling fan also comes with a remote, so we will be setting up the remote along the way. Next stop, we're going to put the down rod up there and mount the motor. So let me get that done and then I'll walk you through it. All right, so the next thing you do is get your down rod together with your covering base or whatever you call this thing, and this little thing right here. Super clear in the instructions. You get those together. The next thing you want to do is what mine came with was shipping like blocks on the motor itself. So it's these orange things. We're going to take that off, and this literally just slides off. It's just for shipping. So we will feed these wires through here like this. And they give you a ton of extra wire just in case you need it, but we are going to cut most of that off. So on the instructions it says, remove the orange shipping block before beginning fan assembly. So it's super clear. It tells you right there on it. So we're going to remove this one. I'm going to unscrew the other one, and we will get ready to hang the motor and start wiring. Let me get this thing hung and I'll be right back with you. All right, so we have our motor mounted. I have my green ground wire kind of hooked up. The other wires, all these wires that are you see right here, the blue, white, and black, these going straight from the fan are going to go to the remote. So don't be confused when you have a bunch of wires here and you only have two wires up on top. The two wires that come out of the ceiling will go to one end of the remote, a power and a neutral. And on the other side of the remote, it'll have these, which one is a neutral, power, and a light switch, or like a light power. So we have this thing mounted up. I kind of put all the pieces on here. There's a pin that goes under the motor here. There's a pin that holds the motor to your down bracket. And next we'll go ahead and we'll put our remote up there. So the next thing is saying to mount the remote, which is right here, underneath there. And it's showing you where your wires go. So you have a green to green, which we did. That should just be a ground. A white to neutral. This says black hot power, but coming out of our bracket up here through the ceiling, the yellow for us is hot power. So the yellow is going to go to red, white is going to go to white. That is on the receiver end. So it's only 2 wires are connecting to 2 wires. That's it. So nothing to be confused about. Your other 3 wires, the blue, white, and black, are going to go to blue, white, and black on the fan to the other side of the receiver. All right. So we're going to go ahead and hook the remote up to the your hot and your neutral wires. We'll also connect the other side of the receiver. I'll get it pushed up in the top as it shows here between the mounting bracket, which is like a little drop down bracket, and the ceiling. I'll put it up there. It also has an antenna for the remote. I'll get it mounted up there, wired up, use the nut screws on the wires, and I'll be right back. We'll show you what that looks like when it gets mounted up. All right, so I got this thing wired up. You know, when you have remotes in the top of your fan like this one does, it's a little bit of a pain finagling the wires and getting them where they need to be. So I'm going to show you kind of what I did. The power and the neutral that come from the ceiling, I did not shove those back up. We're going to put them like in the cap. I'll show you what they are. I use these kind of wire strippers. Makes it super easy to trim the wires. But let's get up there and put this cap up. Let's look at the wiring. So all my wiring, as you can see, maybe not really see that clear, but the wiring is up here. All my main wires come down here into this bottom cap. What this thing does, it just kind of pushes up like this. So this cap just kind of comes up like this. Get my wires in there right. And there's a little set screw there that pushes up and locks into place. Cap's down. Really the only thing we have to do is put on our blades that are going to go in here. Our blades will attach there. Light comes with it's pre-wired, so that's pretty easy. Everything else is, why is Lover Buns yawning back there? Lover Buns, sorry. Is this boring to you? Lover Buns and the Midge are sitting there chillaxing, watching HGTV while I'm up here grinding away on this ceiling fan. All right, let me put my, now she's snoring. All right, let me put my little set screws on there. I'll get the blades attached, which are pretty dang straightforward, so you don't really need to know how to do that. And we'll attach the light up there. Again, following the instructions, pretty straightforward. The wiring is a little bit more of the difficult part, and getting the wire and the remote kind of set up in there and hung. But we are looking good to go. Let me finish the rest of it. I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll get the remote going too. All right, so we got the blade. Sweet. Lover Buns. Jesus. All right, so we got the blades on. That was probably the longest part of this, actually. This thing has 8 blades, 3 bolts per blade to put on, like the mounting bracket, and then 3 bolts to mount it to the housing itself. So here we go. 62 inch? 62 inch length. We stayed in a house in New Mexico that had big blades like this, like long blades, and you really notice a difference when it comes to the airflow within that room. So like I said, the townhome had 64-inch blades. It had a 6 blade on it, so that all the blades were a little bit wider. This is a 62 inch with a little bit narrower blades, but there's 8 blades in total. So when we fire this thing up, I'll give you a quick description of how this feels. Lover Buns over there yawning. We'll put her under here and wake her up as well. So we're gonna actually pause just for a minute for a Snickers ice cream break, and then I'll mount the light up there, and then we'll give it a test run. Be back after I throw down the Snickers. Don't be jelly. All right, here we go. I just wrapped up the fan, the Honeywell 62-inch fan install. Very easy. The instructions are very clear. One thing I didn't mention, before you get started, test, find out where your hot wire is, then turn off the power at the breaker. Don't want to shock yourself. And I'm fat. So, test, figure out what wires you're going to use. Neutral's hot. Ground is always ground. Green, you can put it on whatever you want. And turn the breaker off so you don't get electrocuted. Wire it all up. Flip the breaker back on and give it a test run. Boom. It's working, ladies and gentlemen. DIY, OneNGlen, Free Money Friday. Do the work yourself. Don't pay somebody. Read the directions. Have lover buns, your lover buns. Read the directions to you, or just sit in the background and make yawning noises. That's cool too, you know what I mean? Exactly. So anyways, as you can see, success. We got this baby running. Easy install. If you don't know what you're doing, don't call OneNGlen, because I probably can't help you either.
YouTube it.
YouTube it. Watch the OneNGlen channel and you can learn yourself. Save yourself some money. Free Money Friday. Peace, YouTubers.